Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the channel World of Wrestling, here today to discuss about AEW Dynamite November 24th, 2021 review. I gotta say, man, this was an outstanding show, 100% an entertaining one from beginning to end. This show was great. I mean, there was maybe one or two matches I didn't care for, but other than that, the rest of the show was fucking fantastic. I mean, literally, it was an awesome show. The thing that was the absolute best, if they had nothing else on this show, it wouldn't have mattered. CM Punk and MJF nailed it right out of the ballpark to kickstart the show. They are the ones that actually put the fucking bar really high. The promo work that these two guys did was superb. Outstanding. Picture perfect. Probably the greatest promo between two guys ever. Ever. And I gotta say, man, I wish I was there to witness that promo in person. To listen to these guys shoot the shit back and forth. I'm telling you what, folks. I live in Tampa Bay / St. Petersburg, Florida. I live right across the bridge from Amalie Arena in Tampa. And I gotta tell you guys, man, I really wish AEW would come to Tampa in the Amalie Arena. I would buy a fucking front row ticket to see this show. Guaranteed. Dynamite, pay-per-view, it don't matter. I wouldn't see Rampage live in the front row or anything because it's only an hour show. But they generally run Rampage and Dynamite together under one roof anyway. So it's a 3-hour show. So I really wish that AEW would come to Tampa personally, because man, I would be probably the first one to buy a ticket. Hands down. I don't care if it was $1,000 ticket. I would buy it instantly. No questions asked. And that's kind of crazy. And I normally would never do something like that. But under the circumstances that this company has become and how good it has been, how could I not want to go see it at least once in my life? Just see it once in person. And live, like I did with WWE 3 years ago. I saw a live show. I had a blast. I saw the main event was Daniel Bryan at the time, now Bryan Danielson versus AJ Styles in a steel cage match for the WWE Championship. At the time, Bryan Danielson just turned heel and was the WWE champion. He beat AJ Styles on a SmackDown episode and got to see him perform live inside of a steel cage. And the match was awesome. Very fun. I enjoyed myself very much, and it was a blast. But bottom line, guys, if AEW ever comes to my hometown, there ain't no questions asked. I am buying a ticket, front row and center, if I actually can get it, if the ticket is available. But there's no doubt about it. I am buying a ticket the first moment I hear that they are in Tampa. Bottom line. There's no debating, no question. Unless I don't have the money for it, I am going. I am not kidding you guys. I swear to you, man. I am definitely going. This company is off the freaking chain. They are awesome. I mean, I can't say anything bad about this show. I mean, you have to be a blithering idiot to think that this show was bad. This was not a bad show whatsoever, not even close. Another thing I will mention is there was a little bit of odd thing going backstage with Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, and the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks were actually not there during this promo. And if you really think about it, could you imagine this? Kyle O'Reilly comes to AEW he's not going to re-sign with WWE, of course. I'm guaranteeing you that. He ain't doing shit with them. They're done. I heard what happened with him last night on NXT, and he ain't doing much there. I mean, he's got some bullshit rivalry with some random person that is probably going to beat him and make him job out, which I think is ridiculous. But whatever. But guaranteeing you, he's going to be leaving NXT and coming to AEW more than likely. And you can bank on this. He's going to be joining Adam Cole, baby, and Bobby Fish. And I proposed this idea to my friend, and I texted him, and he doesn't know if they would actually go with it, especially the fact that Kenny Omega's injured right now. And I mean, I'm not talking about right away. I'm talking about when Kenny Omega's fully healed and back. What would you guys think? And let me know in the comments down below. What would you think of an Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish Undisputed Era, which they wouldn't go under that name? They could say the All Elite Era. I mean, they could call themselves that. I don't think they can use the Undisputed as a term in their actual faction name. But wouldn't it be interesting? Kenny Omega comes back, and the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega go up against the formerly named Undisputed Era, the original Undisputed Era, as Adam Cole and the Red Dragon with Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. I think that would be an outstanding trios match. Probably main event all the way. I mean, if you wanted to have your main event, have your trios tag team championship match as the finals, that would be it. Right there. And I'd have Adam Cole and Red Dragon go over the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. That's what I would do if you bring in the 6-man tag team titles into AEW. If that's what they do, that would be my first tag team group marked at becoming champion. Bottom line, man. There ain't no doubt about it. I would have the former named Undisputed Era as my first trios tag team champions. Because, man, they tore it up in NXT. Imagine what they're going to do on the main roster of an AEW, man. They are going to destroy this roster. They're going to make them... I really believe they should make them the same way they were in Undisputed Era and just run roughshod through the entire roster of AEW. There is so much great talent on this show that it is hard to choose from. At some point, we're going to see Kevin Owens going to probably go by his former name, Kevin Steen, in AEW. And I'm telling you, man, we are going to see some really unbelievable shit taking place in AEW. There's going to be so many wrestlers to choose from, main eventers, world champions. It's going to be hard to choose between the litter. It's going to be hard to choose to pick. I mean, there's just so many great performers. Darby Allin. I mean, you got a lot of great talent, but I would focus solely on the younger talent that they got. I think they should also start... as time goes on, in the next 5 years or so, when they got some of these guys that have come to from WWE to AEW, that they start building from within, do like what WWE's trying to do right now, and try to get some of these guys that are retiring to become trainers and train within their own system and bring in new superstars. I mean, I know they're doing that now at Brock Anderson, Arn Anderson's son. But there's not a whole lot of new stars or new people that are showing up in AEW all that much. I mean, we got a couple of guys. I mean, DeMonte Martin, Dante Martin, I should say. He actually had a segment tonight that he turned on Lio Rush and joined the fucking Team Taz without a moment's hesitation, which I'll get into. I'm not quite understanding that one, but he might be the key element to help boost their to be noticed more, because he's got a lot more momentum than the rest of the members on Team Taz, including Ricky Starks, which is pretty fucking weird that he has more momentum than Ricky Starks, and Ricky Starks is an outstanding performer and a possible future main eventer at some point. But yeah, he joined the Team Taz, and he is now with them. He signed a contract. I really could not believe that, and he rushed right into it. He didn't even think about it. And Lio Rush was trying to say, hey, my guy ain't interested. I'm not interested. And he just said, nope, I'm signing. And he walked. And that was it. And Lio Rush was standing there completely shocked, didn't know really what to say or what to do at that point. And that's how that segment went off the air. But yeah, that was a little surprising that he just jumped right into it and that was it. No questions asked. So that should lead to a Dante Martin versus Lio Rush type match, which I'm totally cool with. But was more interested in Dante Martin and Lio Rush being a team and possibly becoming tag team champions, or at least fighting for a tag team opportunity. But yeah, let's go right into this. Go in the chronological order of how the show went. We're not going to do things the way we did with WWE's Raw episode, because God knows they don't deserve a correct review, because they are worthless pieces of shit. Anyway, so CM Punk comes out. He's coming out. He's getting ready to face QT Marshall, I should say. And all of a sudden, MJF comes out. And man, did he say a ton of fucking shit. I mean, this went on for almost 15 minutes. And it was unbelievable. I can't remember every little thing he said. But if you didn't see the opener of the show, please check it out, man. If you had it recorded, check it out. You are going to be pleasantly surprised by the things that these two men said to each other, that it was unbelievable. So here's a few of the things I do remember word for word off of the top of my head. One of which, CM Punk called MJF a less popular version of The Miz. I'm like, what the fuck? They're bombing names out. Shooting names out that aren't even part of the company. They're part of WWE. And I'm going, what the hell? So MJF says, you know what's funny about you, CM Punk? One, I find it completely ironic that you actually can say you're drug-free, straight edge, yet you look like you're dressed up like a meth head. I thought that was fucking awesome. The next thing he said is, I bet it's really hard to look at yourself in the mirror to the point where you have to drink about 8 shots of whiskey just to stare at yourself in the mirror. I'm like, what the fuck? Holy shit. And I'm going ahead and I'm saying to myself, holy fuck, he is tearing him up. So he goes on to say some other things. MJF says that CM Punk is kind of robotic, very repetitive. He sounds a lot like the "You Can't See Me" guy, referencing John Cena. I'm like, what the fuck? So he said, your next slogan probably should be loyalty, hustle, loyalty, and respect. I'm like, Oh my God. I don't know if this was legit planned or these guys just shot from the hip and just said whatever the hell they were going to say and surprised the hell out of one another, not knowing what the other one was going to say during this promo that these two guys were going to shoot. If they didn't plan any of what they were saying and they knew that the other was going to say some trash and they were just expecting it and whatever was going to come out of their mouth was what it was going to be, I'm all for it, man. That is realism to the max, as real as you can get with a scripted show. But damn, holy shit, man. I swear, CM Punk was just sitting there listening to all of the words that this guy had to say. And he just had this look like he wanted to just punch him really in the face. And so MJF also states that here's the one small problem. You think that you were number one. Well, there's one small problem. You, on the other hand, have always played second best. It was to the you can't see me guy, all the way to the King of Kings, referring to Triple H. And he said that if you ever got into the ring with me and you wrestled me, guess what? Your career would end faster than your UFC career was. Holy shit. He took all kinds of shots at this guy. And he said, then CM Punk comes back at him and he says, well, I really am getting to the bottom of all of this. I'm starting to understand what your issue is with me. One, I never directed your name out loud in any kind of conference meetings, Q&A meetings, or any of that. I have always stated I wanted to come to AEW and perform with the youngest stars in this company. And I never mentioned your name, and apparently that seems to sting a little bit, because you want to know why? The guy that I went ahead and my first match I ever had was against the heart and soul of this company, and his name's Darby Allin, and I beat him without cheating. Unfortunately for you, you faced Darby Allin just recently, and you had to hit him with a fucking diamond ring. You're always a guy needing help, and always needing some backstabbing way to win a match. Me, I just come here and I win my matches. That's the one of the things he says. He also calls MJF a fucking a lower level version of The Miz. Miz is more famous than he is. Oh my God. That was fucking hilarious. He also said some other things I forgot, but he really, both of them did very well, but I have to admit, out of the two of them, I think MJF buried CM Punk in the majority of this whole promo work. But the thing is, MJF had more time to talk on the mic. He shot more of the shit than CM Punk did. CM Punk just got to the point where he just hauled off and punched him right in the fucking mouth. CM Punk's whole situation is he didn't want to talk. He just wanted to knock him the fuck out. That's pretty much what happened. MJF eventually got out of the ring after they brawled a little bit. And that was that. Great promo. If you didn't see this segment of the show, which is the very beginning of the show, check it out, man. You are not wasting your time. This was awesome, awesome stuff. I mean, these guys really went all out and called each other all kinds of names. And WWE references coming out of your ass, man. I mean, I swear, it was unbelievable. What else? Then CM Punk had a pretty decent match with QT Marshall. Marshall had some airtime. He actually had a good match with CM Punk. Unfortunately, he lost by a GTS, and he ate the 1, 2, 3. And that's how that match ended. But yeah, overall, good average match to kickstart the show. I was not upset with how the match went. Thought it was a solid match. So the next thing on the show was a segment with Christian Cage and Jurassic Express. They have momentum, and when they feel this way, good things happen. Jurassic Express is number 1 in the tag team division, and he's going to make sure that they win the AEW tag team titles. My attitude on this, I'm not quite understanding what the hell is the point of Christian Cage still buddies with Jurassic Express. They don't really need to be together anymore. They had their purpose, their reasoning for a while. They don't really have any more reason to be together. They defeated Adam Cole and the team that they had with the Young Bucks. I mean, there's really no need for them to. There wasn't no need for them to continue on with being allies. They could have just gone and done their separate thing. But apparently the AEW is planning on keeping them as a trios. So I'm not quite understanding that. Hopefully we get something beneficial out of it. The Jurassic Express, I believe, are overdue for a tag team title run. I think they should have been the ones beating the Young Bucks, not the Lucha Brothers. Lucha Brothers and Young Bucks have faced each other multiple times in the last 2 years. We've seen them a lot against each other. So I really didn't particularly care for them taking the titles off of the Young Bucks. But I can't deny this. That match they had it All Out this September, earlier this year, was really a great match. Got to give it to the Lucha Brothers in that situation. I think they did an excellent job. I just kind of wish that the Jurassic Express would have gotten the tag team title run instead of Lucha Brothers first. But Jurassic Express will bounce back. They should become tag team champions eventually. I don't see that changing anytime soon. I'm pretty certain by February of 2021 or March of February 2022 or March of 2022, we should see them as the tag team champions by Revolution of next year. So, that's my prediction. That's when I think they're going to win the tag team titles. They may win it a little bit sooner than that. January 8th, there's a tag team, there's the Battle of the Belts taking place on January 8th on a Saturday event. Its own separate show. It's not going to be on a Dynamite show. I don't know if this show is going to be a 2-hour show, or is it going to be a 1-hour show? I hope it's 2 hours because there's 4 championship belts, so they'll get a lot of airtime. They'll be able to have long standout performances on the show if they're given 2 hours with a 4-match sequence for that episode that they're doing, that special little event they're doing on TNT on Saturday, January 8th, which I am definitely tuning in for. It's kind of ironic. It's the week after the fucking year 1 pay-per-view show that WWE's doing on the Peacock. What a fucking joke, man. I guarantee the Battle of the Belts is going to be more important, and it's going to be on live free television than what WWE has to offer. I really do. I think that's pretty pathetic, man. But anyway, we go on to match 2. Oh, wait. Eddie Kingston had a segment. He was sitting alone at catering, eating a cake, and then 2.0 and Daniel Garcia sit down with him and say he's lost his drive. They throw coffee in his face. They also take shots at him, saying that he wasn't a good friend to Jon Moxley, and that he couldn't help his best friend. That really pissed him off, and then it led to them throwing coffee in his face, and he got really pissed off, and they ran off like a couple of cowards. So, the Gunn Club, Colton and Billy Gunn. I have to admit, Billy Gunn has a better physique than his own two kids. That's pretty sad, man. Him being as old as he is, he's like in his early 50s, I believe, and he's got a better physique than his own two kids. Man, this guy, he tries to overcompensate for something. I don't know. Maybe he's on the juice again. Who the fuck knows? But he is fucking ripped for a guy his age. I'll tell you. He's got a better physique than fucking Randy Orton. Randy Orton's pretty strong in his own midsection too. He's got a nice six-pack going on, and he doesn't have the same kind of six-pack the fucking Billy Gunn's got. Damn. But he probably doing some steroids. Who the fuck knows, man? Nobody his age is going to look like that. Fuck, even Ken Shamrock couldn't look like that, and he was in pretty damn good shape. And he's like 51, 53, somewhere around there. About the same age as like Goldberg, so whatever. But yeah, the Gun Club win their match against Bear Country. Nothing special took place here. This only led to Darby Allin's music hitting. Sting walks out. And then I think it was Austin Gunn. I think it was Austin Gunn who actually charged up at Sting at the to the top of the ramp. And Darby Allin, I don't know if this was coincidence or this was just a shot at the situation that happened with with the fan attacking Seth Rollins, but it seemed a little bit similar to this. He blindsided Austin Gunn, and Darby Allin came out of the tunnel and torpedoed himself like he was a fucking weapon or a missile coming directly at its target. And he fucking knocked this guy square on his ass. I mean, seriously, I don't know if this was a coincidental thing or they were just taking a shot at the dumb fan that attacks Seth Rollins on Monday Night Raw this past Monday. But it looked kind of crazy that it did look very similar to what happened on WWE's Raw episode with Seth Rollins. But I'm going to take that as coincidence. I don't think they were mocking or making fun of that. But yeah, I found that a little bit weird. Adam Cole, I already discussed this about the Young Bucks. They had a confrontation with the Best Friends as he and Bobby Fish challenged Orange Cassidy and Wheeler Yuta to a tag team match for Rampage this Friday. And then we had Team Taz signing Dante Martin to their group. I already mentioned that on this review already, so I don't have to go over that again. We went to match 3, which is the AEW TBS Women's Championship Tournament quarterfinals match. And it was Jamie Hayter versus Thunder Rosa. This match was pretty decent. I did enjoy it. It was pretty good. Not too often I'm really keen on the women's wrestling in AEW, but this match I definitely will make an exception. Thunder Rosa is pretty damn good in her matches. I enjoy her work. And she ends up winning this match with a roll-up. Unfortunately, we get to see a fucking roll-up pinfall on a AEW show. And I would shit all over it for them doing that, but then again, they don't do this too often. I only get upset about this because I watch WWE's programming and I happen to see roll-up pinfalls on every freaking match practically. So I get so used to it, if it happens on an AEW show, it kind of rubs off on me in the wrong way. But I also got to remember this is AEW, not WWE. So they don't do this type of stuff too often, so I'm not going to shit all over it for the ending that they gave us. It was back and forth, very close match overall, and Jamie Hayter almost won this match with a little bit of fuckery at the end. Britt Baker tried to super kick Thunder Rosa in the face, but unfortunately hit her own her own friend in the face, Jamie Hayter. So she's pretty pissed off about that at the end of this match. She walks off and doesn't want to deal with her after what happened. So, yeah, Thunder Rosa moves on to the next round, which is the semifinals at this point, and she will be facing, I believe, trying to remember, I think it's Jade Cargill, and Nyla Rose is waiting for either Chris Statlander or Ruby Soho to face her in the semifinals. So, two good matches going to be taking place at some point. That should be a load of fun. I think we should be going with Ruby Soho beating Chris Statlander. This did get a little vignette, which I thought was very nice of them to do that. It made it feel like a real sporting type of event, type of situation that's going to take place real soon, which will be taking place next week on Dynamite. I'm looking forward to seeing that match. I think that match is going to be really good. But yeah, this tournament is looking like Ruby Soho should win. She's going to be facing Nyla Rose in the next round if she wins this match against Chris Statlander. And I think this is the ultimate way of pushing her, is putting her up against a woman who has been really trying to move forward, which is Chris Statlander I'm talking about, in becoming a women's champion. And she's in the same boat as Ruby Soho, so something's going to have to give in this match between these two women. And I think Ruby Soho is going to walk out on top as the winner and move on to face Nyla Rose. And Nyla Rose is going to be a heavy opponent for Ruby Soho to face because of the total disadvantage in size and in height that Ruby has to face with Nyla Rose, which should tell a really good story, a Rey Mysterio type of storyline with that, with those two women facing each other in the next round. So again, this whole tournament looks like it's focused on Ruby Soho. There's no doubt about it. Based on the storyline telling they could give with Ruby Soho compared to the other female wrestlers in this tournament still, I think Ruby Soho tells the best story out of the bunch. That's the real reason why she deserves to become the women's champion for the TBS championship. She has the best story going into this. She went from being a nothing from a big, large company like WWE, and now she's a big-time player in a company that really values professional wrestling. So I honestly don't think they could go wrong with Ruby Soho winning the TBS Women's Championship at the end of the day. The person that she should face, Thunder Rosa, easily. So that's the finals that I would see taking place, is Thunder Rosa versus Ruby Soho. And that, again, that could be that could be really difficult to even judge on who they could go with, because they could always surprise people and go with the complete opposite, somebody that's not obvious to win this, because honestly a lot of people are looking and zoning in on Thunder Rosa winning the AEW Women's Championship against Britt Baker, which I think would be the right choice on that situation. But who's to say they can't have her win the TBS Championship and win the Women's Championship and be a double champion at the same time and defend both titles? I mean, they could always go with that route, but I'm pretty certain they're going to go with Ruby Soho winning the TBS Women's Championship, eventually leading Thunder Rosa to move on to the AEW Women's Championship and beating Britt Baker next year for that title. So that's the way I see this tournament going, and I definitely see the finals for the TBS Women's Championship taking place at the Battle of the Belts. I think that's when the finals should take place, over that belt on January 8th. So keep an eye out for that. I definitely am. I'm enjoying this tournament so far. And the semifinals and the finals are going to be the two most important rounds of this tournament that is really going to tell a great story, I believe. This Chris Statlander Ruby Soho match should be really good too. So keep an eye out for that next week. We had a Friendsgiving with Britt Baker and Tony and Rebel. This was really kind of weird. Riho, I think it's Riho, some shit. The first AEW Women's Champion was acknowledged that she wasn't officially eliminated in the Casino Battle Royale for the women when Ruby Soho won that Battle Royal. And she was thrown underneath the ropes, not over the ropes. So it didn't really count. She should have been, the Battle Royal should have continued, but there was a mistake made by the referees. So they're granting her a match with Britt Baker for this coming Friday. And if Britt Baker does not win this match, she has to defend that title against Riho, I believe on Dynamite or something, or in a future match between her and Riho in the future. So, yeah. I'm not a big fan of this. You made the mistake. I mean, I'm saying, I think it was a positive thing that they did, that they pointed out the mistake that they made, but this was at All Out. I mean, come on. You're going to point out something that happened like 2 months ago, going on 3 months. You're going to point that out now? Like, what the fuck? Who cares? It's done and over with. I mean, if they would have done it like immediately after the pay-per-view was done with, and they did it the first or second week of like 1 or 2 weeks after the pay-per-view is over with, and they wanted to do that, I could understand them addressing it then, but addressing it now with it being 2-3 months, it's kind of silly and ridiculous. I think it was just a way of adding a match in there. Anyway, match number 4, Colt Cabana and Bryan Danielson. This was a good match as well. Bryan Danielson knocked out Colt Cabana's teeth, or actually a tooth, not multiple teeth. He just knocked out one tooth, and it was actually found on the mat. I'm like, damn. He removed his fucking teeth. I guess Bryan Danielson went from being a professional wrestler to getting his degree and being a dentist. He must be learning from Britt Baker. But anyway, I digress on that. Anyway, Bryan Danielson wins this matchup by a Bella Lock submission crossface type maneuver and wins the match easily with no problem. Post-match, though, Danielson calls the crowd fickle because of their reaction to him, because he showed up in Chicago for All Out and the fans went crazy. And for the last couple of months, they've been really happy with him. And now all of a sudden, he's got his title opportunity, and because he's focused on winning the title, they hate him for it. And he just doesn't understand why, and the only explanation he can come up with is they're just fickle fans. They can't make up their mind. They don't care. One minute they love you, and the next minute they could hate your freaking guts. Hey, Cody, you might want to take notice on what Bryan Danielson's saying, man. You really need to start paying attention, because he's speaking the truth. But he kicked Colt's teeth out, literally. He heard next week they're in Atlanta, and he heard several Dark Order members are from Atlanta. He'll kick their heads in two, and he'll do the same to Hangman Page. That all of a sudden brings out Hangman Page. His music hits. He comes to the ring and he says, "Look, man, we don't have to wait for you to go through the entire member of the Dark Order to face me for the championship. I'm here. I'm dressed to wrestle. Let's do it. Let's put the title on, do the title match, and let's get it over with." He's like, Oh, that's typical Hangman Page, right? I go ahead and I have a match, and then you want to go ahead and have a match again with me. What would have been really funny is Hangman Page actually saying, well, I do remember a while back you happened to mention you wrestled at WrestleMania and won a world championship. Didn't you actually have 2 matches in the same night? And then you won the world championship in the main event of that pay-per-view? That would have been funny. That really would have been funny if Hangman Page brought that up. So that would have kind of been a nice little throwback in Brian's face after what he said last week about how, hey, I wrestled at WrestleMania in the main event for the World Championship, and then I had to wrestle the next night. So what are you making excuses for? That kind of shit. So they could have just thrown that in there, and that would have been really cool. But they didn't, unfortunately. And Bryan Danielson said, look, man, you think you do what you do is cowboy shit. I think it's cowardly shit. So, nice little twist on words there. And Hangman then offers to give him the first shot. He says, well, since I'm not going to defend my title against you, I ain't leaving until we fight. So he says, you can take the first shot. And Bryan throws a slap to his face. And they fight it out, and then Hangman almost gets a buckshot lariat. Bryan Danielson actually avoids from getting hit with the clothesline and dodges out of the ring and retreats up the ramp. And that's pretty much what took place there. I like the segment. I like the work that Bryan Danielson's doing. I gotta say, the best of the best right now that is really making this show entertaining, there are 5 guys. 5 guys I'm going to mention. I mean, there's other players in the mix, like the men that are in this main event coming up that I'm about to talk about, that have played a good, valuable role in making the show really good. But the 5 big guys that have been making this show really entertaining, for me at least, has been Eddie Kingston with his little storyline after CM Punk's match at the Full Gear pay-per-view. And then the MJF, CM Punk, of course, Hangman Page, and Bryan Danielson. Those are the 5 guys that have been entertaining the shit out of me in the work that they've been doing. I really have actually enjoyed everything that they've been doing. The rest of them have been viable players into the show to make the show flow very well. Darby Allin's kind of taken a step back with this Billy Gunn situation. I don't know why Billy Gunn's come into the picture all of a sudden, which I'm not really liking very much. It's an obvious win. There's no doubt about it. Billy Gunn has no reason to win a match against Darby Allin, for God's sakes. And his sons really need a lot of work to get some notoriety in this company to even be a noticeable asset to being main event players on the main card of AEW. So that's just my outlook on that. But yeah, those are the guys that I've been really interested in the last couple of weeks that I think have been doing a good job. And then we had the 4 participants in the main event that I actually been entertained by as well. And that's Malachi Black, Andrade El Idolo, and FTR going up against Cody Rhodes, Pac, and the Lucha Brothers. I gotta say, we're probably gonna see either Pac turn heel or we're gonna see Cody turn heel. One of these 2 are turning heel. There ain't no doubt about it. The Death Triangle is going to be no more if Pac turns heel. Cody, I think, would be the better choice, number 1, because he literally is getting under my skin. You're going to tell me you're going to have an entrance where you come out of the fucking floor on the stage have pyro going off like as if you're at WrestleMania every fucking week when you do an entrance for a match. I mean, come on, man. Be a little bit more normal. He's like overcompensates his entrance all the time. He's not The Undertaker. Hell, The Undertaker didn't show up every single week. That's why they didn't have him show up every fucking week. Not to mention he was old as shit back near the end of his career anyway. But at the end of the day, he didn't have the fucking a match every week because of the way his gimmick was. He was so damn special. They didn't want to overcompensate with his character. They just utilized him for the pay-per-views. And that's what they're kind of doing here with Cody. Cody does not need to be having these entrances that are over extravagant and full of pyro and bullshit. It is just so heel-like mentality because he's trying to overcompensate and I guess validate himself as saying, hey, I'm important too, right guys? Like if he's looking for acceptance on who he is to say I'm a superstar, we don't need you to prove anything. You've done an amazing job with this company, with Tony Khan. There ain't no need for him to overcompensate with his entrance. His character has come across as if he is a heel without being a heel. If you can really kind of compensate in what I'm trying to say here, because that's how I kind of feel and why people are booing him. He just comes across like he's portraying a heel-like character, only not playing the heel to a full effect. And I think people are just getting bored of him and seeing him kind of trying to make himself more important than everyone else on the roster. Which, to me, is a heel-like maneuver, only he's not playing the heel the way he should be. So, I don't know, man. I really think he needs to embrace the dislike towards him and utilize it to his advantage. And eventually, at some point down the line, people will start liking him again. Because people are getting tired of his act. They don't want to see him go away. I don't think anybody wants to see Cody disappear from AEW. I think having Cody off television would suck. Unless he's going to continue to play the face character, I think it's time for him to give that up. I think people are really interested in seeing what he can do as a heel, and personally, I think he's better as a heel than he is as a face, because he doesn't have that, like, gritty type of mentality. You know, people are trying to, they want to see a face like a Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's what people enjoyed about Steve Austin. Steve Austin had this gritty, anti-hero type of mentality, and a lot of people enjoy that type of character. And that's what he brought to the table as a face. And I think a lot of people want to see that type of mentality come back in babyface type roles. So that's just my attitude on that. I don't know what you guys think. But the end result was Cody accidentally kicked Pac in the face. Pac then got sprayed in the face with mist by Malachi Black at the end. And then he got hit with the DDT by Andrade El Idolo with his arm, that modified DDT maneuver where he has his arm behind his back and then he presses his skull into the mat, and that's how the match ends. He gets the 1, 2, 3 on Pac, and when Pac was being pinned, Cody tried to get in the ring, but Malachi Black did a black mass to Cody's gut actually, and knocked him off their apron for them to get the win, and that's how the match ended. Overall, I was really impressed with how the show went. Would have been fine if the show went for an extra hour, but let's face it, they do 3 hours, we're fucked. We're going to get shit shows, they're going to get tired out, they're going to get probably burnt from all the creativity that they got to do for 3 hours per week on just a 3-hour show. I don't think they need to do that. Let's face facts. Rampage is not exactly the type of show that delivers on storyline building so much as wrestling. That's what their third hour is based on. It's based on 3 decent matches to hold the Rampage show above float. They do not get a lot of viewers on that show. I think a lot of the people tune in for Dynamite more than anything else. And I honestly don't want to see Rampage go to 2 hours. I know I was saying earlier this year when they started this, if it really is successful, push it to a 2-hour show eventually at some point. But I'll be honest, I don't see Rampage as a future 2-hour secondary show. I think it's best it stays at 1 hour and leave it at that. They don't need to do anything else with that. I think it's fine the way it is. And I think another hour added to Rampage will just make things a little bit overload. But then again, some people might be able to handle it because they may not want to tune in for WWE's programming, which would be a smart decision on anyone's part because, Jesus Christ almighty. I don't know how much more I can continue watching Raw and SmackDown, but it's getting pretty fucking disgusting already. But you guys like tuning in, you give me great views, and I get a lot of comments from you guys lately, and I greatly appreciate it. So at this time, you know what to do. Hit the like button if you liked the video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel, of course. And as always, leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that. And I thank you guys very much for watching. Have a great night, guys, and happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Bye.